Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday night live stream. So a lot of good things to talk about. Let's just jump right into it. So first of all, Larry Fink, the head of Blackrock, the 13 or so trillion assets under management, and one of the most successful ETFs for Bitcoin so far, was a conference, little one that we can see here. I believe it's called the Future Investment Initiative. And it gives us a nice reminder about why Bitcoin is so important. And it's about 30 seconds or so long. And I want you to listen to this because I know right now, as we're getting into the last week of October, we finally are going to realize what's going to happen in November, December for Q4. I think it's important to remember just how far we've come and why Bitcoin is so important. And Larry says it quite well. So just take a listen to this, then we'll jump back.
If you believe that countries are going to continue to debase their currency, if you believe that there's going to be global rise of insecurity, owning crypto assets or gold are assets of fear. You own these assets because you're frightened of the debasement of your assets. You're worried about your financial security. You're worried about your physical security. And between crypto assets and gold, they believe, there's a strong belief that is a good hedge against optimism. Okay. Jamie,
Yeah, it's a good hedge against fear, really what it is. There's hedge against optimism, hedge against fear, because I mean, we on some levels, everybody's just so optimistic on certain sides. You can say, well, is that really going to make it? Or are we going to go into like a massive recession? Cue gold. Okay, well, if we're not going to be into a recession, maybe it's going to be risk off, cue Bitcoin. And I can tell you that, I mean, recently we've seen gold just have just a magnificent run. And congratulations to all the gold bugs that are out there. But as a reminder, just take a look here. And we talked about this a couple of days ago when we were talking about gold. Actually, maybe it was yesterday. Talking about the gold ETF, which was on around November of 2004. Then 20 years later, in January of 2024, correct me in the comments, we had the Bitcoin ETF. And during that time, and then from that point in gold, Bitcoin from January 2024 to today is roughly about a year and 9 months, right? The initial time frame of this early ETF was a year and 9 months for Bitcoin. If we go back in time to the gold ETF, which again was November 2004, we can see and people talk about this like it was the greatest thing of all time. And I mean, it was great for gold, but look at this price. Look at this price action. In a year and 9 months, gold started out, okay, I'll start out where it was, $427. And look at this nice run up. Looks good, right? Well, at the peak, it didn't even 2x. Maybe 1.73, whatever it is. But then, in a year and 9 months, it went from just $429 to $612. That's not great in almost 2 years. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin. How is that done? Well, again, January 2024, roughly around the 12th, the 10th, somewhere around there, it was 42,000. And we hit a high, we peaked at around 124, 126,000, and now today we're at a paltry 114. You see where I'm going? Like, as good as gold is, and as much as it had a run up, and it has, and it's beaten, I mean, for this year, from the beginning of this year to now, gold has beaten Bitcoin, it's true. But if we just take a look at, if we compare apples to apples for time frame, I can tell you that Bitcoin has overperformed, and I think that it's going to be its time. Now remember, gold tumbled around 6-7% of its total market cap, which is a massive amount. Moving into it, I think there may be a rotation to Bitcoin, but it's anybody's guess. And unfortunately for today, we can see that October is no more. It is now Downtober. When Larry put this out, I just kind of sat back, listened to it a couple of times, and I thought, you know what? He's right. This is a great hedge against optimism, great hedge against inflation. I think people should be putting their funds into or gold. Me personally, I have a lot more into Bitcoin. I also own gold and silver, but I can see why it is, because people are nervous. We don't know what's going to happen in the future, and it can go either way. And I'll remind you, as of tomorrow, we're going to get rate cuts. Sounds like it's going to be 25 basis points. I don't think we're going to hit 50, but maybe we will. And Farrar said it's great in the pre-comment section where he said, hope so, Rob. Tomorrow's meant to be fire, or meant to be to the moon. A rate cut plus 3 times earnings of the Magnificent Seven. So we're going to see there's a lot of things going on tomorrow, and we could actually run up pretty massively. I expect 25 basis points. I don't know if that's already priced in. If it is, it's kind of paltry, but that's where we're at. So we'll see where it goes. But again, I think this week should be pretty good, pretty positive, pretty bullish. We'll see how it all plays out. So that's the good news. And of course, you don't come here for just good news. You just don't. You come here for a little reality. And the reality is, and it's really true about what Larry said, about that hedge, because people are nervous, people are uncertain. And I can tell you there's a lot of uncertainty in the job market. This right here really is the great part of Jerome Powell's job, because he can look here and just say, you know what, the economy's not doing that great. I can tell that the job market's kind of lagging. So we are right in our assumption to have those rate cuts. Hopefully 25, maybe 50. Doubtful though. What we're going to see that here is, UPS, 48,000 employees. That's a lot. I used to work at UPS. Amazon, up to 30,000 employees. Intel, 24,000. Nestle, interesting. Probably assembly line workers putting in those types of food items. Accenture, Ford, Novo Nordisk, pharmaceuticals, 9,000. Microsoft, 7,000. And of course, PricewaterhouseCoopers for analysts and things like that. Salesforce as well. Paramount, Target, Kroger. What I see in here, when I take a look at this, I wonder if it's just normal cuts because they're trying to tighten their bottom line or their business or their expendables and try to push into the next quarter, or is it because there's something underneath that's happening? And when I take a look at these things these days, it kind of concerns me about artificial intelligence and about the jobs that AI is taking. Now, UPS and Amazon, that makes a lot of sense, right? You have those robots on the assembly line. They just do this and do that. They can do whole sorts of things. Intel, 24,000. Again, you could have that for manufacturing jobs, also for any kind of analyst. Nestle, same thing. Accenture, not for sure. Ford, same deal. I mean, you've got these assembly line. Nordisk, Microsoft. I can see AI playing a part in that. And then I also saw this today, and I couldn't believe it. Everybody talks about Tesla and Optimus, but this kind of just flashed across on my feed on X. And there's a new humanoid robot that's going to be rolled out, I guess, in the next quarter or so. They've already got a prototype, and looks like it's $20,000. And same thing. So this isn't out yet, but this thing's coming. So think about all the other jobs that are out there that it looks kind of funny now, but I mean, what's going to happen? Is your job at risk? And if it's not your job, is it a job maybe in your family? Any of these jobs like this. And if that's the case, then it goes back to what Larry talked about as far as investing. If we don't invest now, what are we going to do later on when everybody's taking the job and we're going to have to settle on government assistance left and right? It just seems like it's a scary time. And there it goes. Then also, so what do we, really it comes down to, so what do we do? Well, if you're going to invest in something, I can't give you investment advice, obviously. I'm not an investment advisor, but you can take a look around you and see which things are people want, need, have to have. One of these could be, I don't know, Nvidia stock besides Bitcoin. Nvidia, they just had a massive run up today from $180 to $194 because apparently they announced a partnership with the United States Department of Energy. Don't you wish you would have bought more Nvidia at this point? And then it gets better. Nvidia also just partnered up with Palantir. So if AI becomes as big as we think it is, or even if it flounders and it's just mediocre, who knows? The thing that you have to realize is that the narrative of the market, you're really just kind of looking for what's the underlying tone, what's the underlying story. Just like the dot-com bubble, just like the housing bubble, and now we could potentially be in an AI bubble, I don't know. But you would kind of look at this and go, okay, well, where's the hockey puck going? And then you can just make it simple for yourself. Well, just go to CoinGecko, click on the categories, and click on artificial intelligence and see what kind of products are out there. I know people talk a lot about BitTensor and Tau, ICP, Near Protocol. I have some of it. I don't think it's going to do that great, but we'll see. Render, and then look at this, Virtuals Protocol, which is an AI agent platform. Did you know it's up 88% for the last 7 days? I wonder if somebody knows something. Fetch AI, the graph, Theta, yeah, we'll see, and so on and so forth. But, and then, wow, look at this. Arweave down 5%. If you're looking for decentralized storage, not a bad thing to look into. Anyhow, it's just the musings. And then lastly, before we get into a little Q&A, congratulations to Western Union having a partnership with Solana. And it looks like they're going to be using stablecoins on Western Union. If you don't know what Western Union is, it's a remittance service. So if you have to send money abroad to somebody else in another country, use Western Union, where they gouge you with these outrageous fees, which I've used before in the past, which sucks. But apparently they tapped on Solana to get into their business. Now, Western Union is still a very large business, so congratulations. But to me, it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of like Netflix coming over to Nvidia going, hey, can you upgrade us? Because we're, I'm not sorry, Blockbuster going with Nvidia, going, hey, can you upgrade us? Because we're trying to compete with Netflix. I don't think it's going to work like that, but maybe it works out great. Who knows? And lastly, a quick prayer for Jamaica and Haiti, who are just getting pounded. They're really close to Puerto Rico, just down the block. And looks like it's a hurricane, gosh, which one is this? An F5. So there's going to be a pretty big humanitarian effort pretty soon to rebuild all of Jamaica and Haiti, as I think everything's just getting absolutely pummeled down there. So if you think your life is bad, imagine what it's going to be like in Jamaica and Haiti as the next 24 to 48 hours gives us a little bit of information. But that's it for tonight. So look, if you liked tonight's video, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing. Everything we talked about is time sensitive. Now we'll get into a little Q&A, and I'll answer all your questions. I'll go from there. Good question. Why are gold investors called gold bugs? You know who we should ask? Probably ChatGPT. I think that would be a pretty good one. Let's see. Again, going with the AI theme. Why are gold investors called gold bugs? It's a mix of finance and psychology. Back to the 19th century, the phrase gold bug was referred to people obsessed with the gold standard. The term became more widely used during the 1896 presidential election. William Jennings Bryan, a silverite, ran against William McKinley, a gold standard supporter. McKinley's backers were sometimes derisively called gold bugs. Today, gold bug refers to an enthusiast. Yeah. The term bug here means obsessive enthusiast, same way we see a computer bug from an actual moth found in an early computer. Or jazz bug, early 20th century slang for someone obsessed with jazz. So a gold bug is essentially someone who's caught the gold fever, obsessed with metal. There you go. So not like a really great story, but it is what it is. Good question. Now I know. I can rattle off some more useless information in my brain at parties. Mary says, thanks for your time and out. Thank you, mods, for making my life easy. That's for sure. Van Life, it's already priced in? No, let's hope not. Let's hope tomorrow when we get some rate cuts, everybody's like, ooh, I'm so shocked. This is amazing. I didn't see this happening. So let's start dumping it into risk on assets. Fantastic. I'll take it. Yeah, 50 basis point cuts, please. We can't get shook. Hi, Rob. When will we know if the four-year cycle has been validated or invalidated? If you don't see some massive run-ups in mid-second week of December, then you know. You know that the 4-year cycles have been extended into 4.12 or something. Maybe we get a blow off top in January, in which case, see, this is the thing I keep thinking about. Can you say the 4-year cycles are then extinct if we get into Q1? Let's say in like March, mid-March, we get a blow off top. But people then say, okay, it's not the 4-year cycle, it's the 4.25 cycle. Or now it's a 5-year cycle. Well, it's not really a 5-year cycle because, you know, there's only 4 months or 4 years and some change. But yeah, if we get to the second week of December and we're chopping sideways like we're doing right now, you can pretty much just say, okay, it's either going to be extended or we already hit the top. It could happen. I don't think that is it, but you have to leave those decisions open because it could be true. We'll see what the charts say. That thing is going to kill us all. Waffle says that. Probably talking about AI. Joshua's got a good idea. Is be a robot mechanic. That's true. I wonder how that's going to work though, because like, you know, in the Industrial Revolution, when they started to make all those different machinery, that was great, but the machines couldn't fix the machines, so you needed somebody to fix the machines. Now, if you really think about it, if it was me, I'd be like, you know, I'm going to make an assembly line of Android robots that will fix the junk Android robots that come in, and then you just pay me. Or you like Android robots like manager. You just make sure all the other robots aren't screwing around, taking too many breaks. Something, I don't know. But yeah, AI I think is going to change a lot of things, but we'll see. I go back and forth on this. What happens when the robots build an army with guns? Well, hopefully there are parameters set within their software which says, you know, rule number 1, don't harm humans. Rule number 2, see rule number 1. Hopefully it's something like that, like in iRobot. 50 basis points for tomorrow. Bitcoiner calls it. I sure hope so. No stimmy checks, no SNAP, no money. Joe's right. People out there are not getting the free funds from the government. I wonder when they're going to open up the government again. And has anybody been affected? I mean, besides the SNAP recipients, which did you know that, and they used to be called food stamps. When I was a kid, we got food stamps. Had to be on this for a little bit. Sucked, but it is what it is. But embarrassing time. But now it's called SNAP here in the United States. Essentially just coupons to get free food because people are struggling. The goal was always to get off of food stamps. It was never to stay on there. It was supposed to be a temporary measure. And it seems like in the States, like people are on there for years and years and years and years and years and years. It's crazy. But apparently we have like 40 million people. This is what the statistics came out. And the population of the United States, I want to say 360 million? No, 340 million people. So think about that. 40 million people are on food stamps. We're the richest country in the world. And we got that much. It's over like 10%. It's awful. 12, 13% of people. I don't recognize this country. Watch Westworld. Yeah, that's another good one. Alt season is coming. Be patient. Alt season is a myth. Cat 5. Thank you. Not F5. I think that's for her. That's for tornadoes. Alt season is a reality. I don't know. I just don't think that altcoin season, like where everything goes up, is going to be like what it was before. I think again, it'd be like saying, hey, this is stock season, where every stock that you ever have owned goes up. And it's like, well, maybe that happened long time ago, but now you have to do your due diligence and homework, and with a little bit of luck, you can actually get a nice 2 to 3% return on your individual stocks, depending what you're doing. I think it's kind of like that with altcoins. It's not all altcoins will go up. There is like, I remember in 2021 there was tens of thousands of altcoins, Now we have over 2 million altcoins. There's not a snowball's chance in hell that all those are going to go up. It's impossible. There's not enough liquidity in the market to do that. So I think it's just going to be the ones that, actually have utility and people want to use and are betting on. Matai Logan says, can you give us some ADA Hopium? ADA's looking good. I think what's really looking good is some of the AI agents that have been launched on there. So besides that, there's a lot of internal conflicts going on with Cardano. I think they missed the boat on stable coins. Yeah, I know it was going to be expensive to pay for USDC, but you got to pay to play. That's what they all do. And I think they just missed the golden opportunity. And they're trying to get into it. And people say, well, there's stable coins on Cardano. Yeah, and their volume is like $2. So who's using it? I sure hope so, Logan, because I got a big fat bag of that. Van Life says, Robbie, still on the Aster train, or are you on the one dumping on me? No, I mean, Aster was one of those that almost doubled for me, and I'm just below it. I didn't sell my half, so I still got a bag of it. I will dump it on you, that's for sure, as soon as it doubles or triples. But who knows? I think, unfortunately, because Aster is associated with Binance, Binance is associated with CZ, and unfortunately, with what happened on October 6th, with the whatever integration that they had with all the price oracles, the price action, which led to a massive amount of liquidations, some real liquidations and some that weren't supposed to happen. People lost a lot of money. And because of that, I think Aster took a big hit. It is what it is. And these are the things that you just never would think about. You're like, that's kind of crazy. Although a friend of mine has used perps, mostly Hyperliquid, and he says Aster sucks as far as like an integration or user interface. I'm like, maybe it's yet another one that's just not going to do well. That's okay. Tokenization of art. Can't wait. It's here. I actually have one. It's called Masterworks. We used to talk about this a long time ago. I bought a fractionalized share of artwork on a Basquiat, which if you're a big art person, you will know that is a huge buy. I am not a huge art person. I just thought it would be great because the number goes up, but it didn't. Actually, that's not true. It did go up a little bit. It just hasn't sold. But yeah, tokenization, a lot of things are going to be big. I'd like to see more tokenization of real estate, where you could not have tokenizations of like, massive condos and massive commercial properties and all these different things, but just like, a couple of houses and something like that, where you could just like invest small, and then you can have a DAO and just say, hey, like it's time to sell this thing. We all are going to vote on this, instead of having like a real estate investment trust, which doesn't allow those things. That's where I see the future, just smaller, where everybody can get in, and just a lot easier. Oh, bow dancer. Everyone hit the like button, or someone will steal your Halloween candy. That's it. Maybe it won't blow up. Which Trump will tweet into oblivion for not the first time? Man, I'm telling you, TA now should just be called Trump analysis. Because if you just go to True Social and just follow that, you can probably outdo a lot of different traders that are out there. Robo University. I love those rules. Those rules do help us. Which AI? ASI bit the dust. Yeah, that's a bummer. I think there's some internal strife between the founders. So that's it. It's going to be tough for them. I personally am a big fan of Aether. It's ranked like 152nd. If you're looking for something, I did a video on it. Just look for Dan Degen, my second channel, and we talk about Aether, A-E-T-H-I-R. It makes a lot of sense. You have a warehouse full of GPUs. Maybe they're not being utilized to their maximum potential. Aether comes over and says, hey, we'd like to pay for that unused GPU processing or compute power, because other companies want to use it. We're going to pay you in this, and then if you want to get in on the action, we're going to use, of course, we pay you in digital asset called Aether, and we use the unused portions of it. Sure, let's do that. Anyhow, we'll see. What? Food stamps are not politically correct. When is it not politically correct? When I was a kid, that's what we called it. Don't cancel me because I said food stamps. Food stamps. Not politically correct. That's almost said another non-politically correct term. Or it's supposed to be a temporary safety net. Exactly, it's supposed to be a temporary safety net. There was this movie, it was a boxing movie called Cinderella Man. Who was Cinderella Man? Russell Crowe, that's who it was. So Russell Crowe was in there, and he was working from job to job. He was a great heavyweight boxer. And in between boxing, he took a job on the docks, and he couldn't make ends meet, so he had to go get food stamps, which was not called SNAP back then. It was called food stamps. So food stamps were being used, and he did that for like so many months. And then when he got his boxing career back on track, he went and paid the government back on what he did. And that's it. Let's see. 11 says, Rob, what do you think of AVAX leading the stable coins, real world assets, gaming, JPYC partnering with Saudi banks? Hold on, JPYC picked Ethereum. We just did a story on this yesterday. Did they also pick AVAX? Saudi banks and also partnering with the Japan company that powers 50% of credit card payments. Yeah, I mean, that's great. Let's not forget also that they were heavy into Web3 gaming. So we'll just see how much utility is out there for AVAX. I have a bag of AVAX, so let's hope this works out. But the JPYC, again, I thought it was just Ethereum. But that was Tom Lee reporting on it, so he is a little bit biased. That's true. Let's see. That's terrible. How many are citizens? Why must you intervene in here and choose violence? You must want me to get canceled. Okay. Because the government wants people on benefits because they vote them. Oh, man, I'm so close to getting away from this one. It's the same reason they want to legalize. Just can't get away from the geopolitics. I mean, this isn't democratic action news. It's digital asset news. So, I mean, if we want to do stuff like that, I can tell you this. If there's two things I try to avoid talking on my channel, it's one is religion, and two is politics. I did call for prayer for Haiti and Jamaica. I think it's relevant at this point, but it's other stuff. Yeah. Can we just agree that all politicians suck and they're a bunch of liars? Right? Oh, here's something I want to show everybody. Check this out. Ro Khanna. He is a congressman, and they've been out of California. And he introduced a bill, and people were replying to this. He introduced a bill to ban Trump and all members of Congress from trading crypto and stocks, which, what is Nancy Pelosi going to do? Just kidding. I know people in the comment section say, it's not Nancy Pelosi, it's her husband. Great. And I'm guessing they never talk about work. Okay. Anyhow, so Ro Khanna introduced a bill to ban congressmen and women from trading in stocks, which I had to take a look at using ChatGPT and saying, hey, how many of those resolutions and bills have been done in, say, like the last 7-8 years or so? And let's see, 3, 8, 22, 40, so roughly 42 measures have been put forth by Congress to ban, and they never get passed. Isn't that crazy? Here's the crazier part. Ro Khanna has the most number of trades for stocks. He does like hundreds of millions of dollars a year, and he sits on some pretty impressive committees. So you're thinking that guy wants to ban stock trading? I doubt it. I mean, that's a paper show. But I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe he's like, look, I don't trade. I have this in a trust or an LLC, and it's, you know, my company, my other company that does this. I have nothing to do with that. Well, if that's the case, then how do we disassociate that with, like, say, people in power and their kids trading stocks on insider information? Look, it's corrupt all the way through. It's disgusting. It's not fantastic, and just the way it is. And I think those types of laws will never get passed. Damn it. You know, for us, kind of trying to stay away from politics, I did a horrible job tonight. Horrible. All right. Back on track. Hey, Rob, you know if you can merge AGIX to fetch on the Singularity merge site? It only seems to offer the ETH claim to swap and not the crown chain. Not sure. I have not tried it. I have no idea how that works. If I give you information, it would just be wrong. So we'll see. First rule of holes, quit digging. Oh, no. I'll double down. That's my wife. She'll tell you. Is it possible he actually cares more about his country than his own self-interest? It's very tough. It's a lot of money to give up. Although this is a deeper question, and probably a good question to answer in some other future video, which is, how much money do you really need in life? You know, like there was a post where a guy, I think it was called Barbell Finance, and he was very proud and happy. He said, hey, I paid off my mortgage. I feel really good today. I was able to do it. I was able to do it early. I'm very happy. And instead of people going, that's great, you know, good job, champ, you know, good for you, it was just a litany of people going, you're dumb. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you put that into Bitcoin, into gold, into Nvidia, and so on and so forth? Which I see the merit. And the guy came back and said, look, I know maybe you guys have all had a bad day yesterday, but it's good for me. I don't have any pressure or any type of worries now. It feels good to have my own house. And there's just something I just can't describe. And he said, did I miss out on some pretty big things to happen? Maybe. But again, how much money do you need? I don't know. That's a good way to leave it. I think personally, if you have enough to pay your bills, to take care of your family and your immediate circle around you, that's it. What else? That's it for tonight. Anyhow, if you guys like tonight's video, thumbs up, subscribe, all that great stuff. And then tomorrow I'll probably watch Tom Crown's live stream when he has Jerome Powell come out, and if there's going to be a speech tomorrow, if they're going to say what the rates are. But after that, tomorrow night we'll talk about it. But that's it. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you on the next one. Adios.